Today is a really significant day for me. I fractured my spine a year ago. It's a day that could have drastically changed my life. In some ways it did, and fortunately for the better. I've avoided talking about details here. It's too traumatizing to relive it. But I want to share my story with you, to be thankful, to learn from it, and to perhaps give you something. 1 year ago today, I was on a boat in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean with colleagues and friends after a week of surgeries to go to an island for a few relaxing hours. The weather had worsened and the seas were rough. I got up to fix a loose door at the front of the boat that was swinging open and closed, worried it might hurt someone. As I went to sit down after closing it, we hit a huge wave. I'll never forget that wave. I went flying back at least 6 feet in the air and landed on my lower back against the hard fiberglass side of the boat. I felt instant severe pain in my lower back. I could barely move and felt nauseous. I can't explain why, but my first reaction was, I hope no one saw what happened. I was embarrassed. Hopefully no one noticed. I knew something was wrong, but my pride got in the way. I waited a few minutes, hoping the pain would magically go away, but it didn't. Every wave we hit was a shock to my back. So sitting alone at the front of the boat, I moved there from the back during a stop to get a different view. Big mistake, as that is the worst part of the boat to be in rough seas. I looked around and could see everyone was having a good time. What was I to do? Now, when I think about that, I can't believe I waited so long to say anything. After several minutes, I felt I needed to do something. The boat was going up and down, and with every wave, I felt such bad pain, and I was getting worried that things might be serious. I looked for my friends, Tissy and Mariana, but they were in the back of the boat. I had to go tell them about this and get help. I somehow got up slowly, holding the side of the boat. At that moment, our host Mickey saw me, and I think he could tell by the way I was moving that something was wrong. He stopped the boat so I could walk to the back of the boat. I guess it wasn't the best idea with a potential back fracture, but more on that later. I could barely speak, and I felt like I may lose consciousness. It was pretty bad. They stopped the boat, and I slowly made it to the back of the boat. I told everyone I was fine, just a little pain. Can you believe it? The friggin' pride in me. The thing is, I hate to impose on people. I don't like to rely on anyone's help. The feeling of vulnerability, honestly, is scary to me. I didn't want anyone to feel sorry for me, and I didn't want it to be an inconvenience to anyone. It's hard to explain, but that was the most important thing on my mind, not my back or my health. WTF. I guess that's ego and pride. There was talk about stopping and going back to the shore, but I argued not to, and we'll be fine. Before some of my colleagues disagreed, and the captain turned the boat around and headed back to shore, to the closest landing spot. I sat in front of my friends, nauseous and white, as still as I could, cringing in every wave. Oh my God, the pain was brutal. I still shudder thinking about those times. I tried to look like I was fine, trying to talk, but I eventually gave in and told everyone how bad I felt. I'm sure they could already tell. Well, we got to a landing spot after about 30 minutes, I think. The captain went slower to avoid the waves jolting the boat in my back. A friend of Mickey's was so kind and arranged a car to take me back to Panama City. By that time, my colleagues had made calls to the best hospitals and spine surgeons in the country. And OR was actually prepped and ready. I was so appreciative of the care, but felt uncomfortable by the attention. The drive was long to the city because we stopped short of the normal landing place. I think it was about 2.5 hours. I wanted to go alone, but Tissy and Mariana insisted on coming. The front seat was reclined, so I laid down, tried to find a comfortable position, but that was hard. I was exhausted, I fell asleep, and I woke up a little while later. On my back, although it was super stiff, I felt a bit better. I suggested I could be okay, and I just had some soft tissue muscle damage, and I would go back to my hotel and go to sleep. Skip the hospital. Again, I didn't want to impose on anyone. What ensued was an argument with Mariana and Tissy and myself. Well, thankfully they won, and anyways, they made the driver go to the hospital. So we got to the hospital, Mariana and Tissy taking really great care of me, not letting me bend down or pick up anything. I sat in nothing but a hospital gown, wondering how bad was my injury. The spine surgeon came in on his weekend day off and met me. I'm very thankful for his kind care. I had a lot of lower back pain, but I was feeling better, able to stand. He ordered an MRI and an X-ray. Waiting for the imaging to be done, this was the first time I was alone since I fell on the boat. And I had a chance to think more. I was partly scared of what the imaging would find and what it would mean for me. But, at the same time, the adrenaline rush of unexpected events, the challenges, the uncertainty made me excited in a weird way. I guess life is boring, I guess. I know I'm weird. But really, I was more scared, to be honest. The surgeon came back and we went over the films. It seemed that in my lumbar region, where my pain mainly was, there was no fracture. I also had no bony pain, so I guess I got lucky, thank God. Pain meds and NSAIDs were prescribed and I went to rest. I remember thinking, so I guess I can go back to do anything. No risk causing any more damage. I had a ton of pain. And my back was really stiff. My muscles were in spasm, but I felt relieved. I went back to my hotel to rest. On the way back, I got a call from my surgeon who told me that there was some concern maybe higher up on my spine, perhaps a contusion. I still felt relieved in hearing I didn't have a fracture. Well, for now. I was thankful to my friends who ordered me a burger for dinner. Well, I couldn't sleep right away, tossing and turning in my bed. I remember that well. But eventually I did, uncomfortably, but I did. The next morning, I felt really stiff again and got around really slowly. I swear I actually thought about going to the gym and doing a light workout. I actually put my gym shorts on. Well, I decided against it. I was tired. Even little tasks like putting my shirt on was difficult. That day, I was to do work on an early novel laser therapy for glaucoma, and patients were already booked. Despite the really bad pain, I made it to clinic, and I was able to perform what was groundbreaking, innovative glaucoma laser therapy. It was very exciting. I also did surgery with a novel cataract device, worked with my surgeon colleagues. My Panamanian friends understandably were very worried about me, and to reassure them, I got my friends to take a video recording of me doing a light jog outside the clinic.
Everyone, I'm doing well.
Oh my God, Ike. Crazy.
I'm like new, see?
Can you believe it? Oh my God. Crazy. Well, during clinic, Mariana came to me and told me I need to go back to the hospital to see the spine surgeon to check again. I said, no way, I was fine. No fracture, remember? That's unnecessary. I was really stubborn, honestly, in resisting this. Well, of course, they went out and I went back to the hospital. I'm stuck between these two. More imaging was done. I remember standing in front of the surgeon's desk, bending forward, telling him that it felt better if I did that. I distinctly remember, though, him telling me to stop that, and I shouldn't do it. It could make things worse. And I wondered why. At that time, he gave us the news that I actually had a spine fracture. It was at T12, a little bit higher than where we were looking at earlier. Oh my God, after the emotions, all the ups and downs, can you imagine what I was thinking? At first I thought I didn't hear him correctly. I tuned out for a second. I could see he was talking, but I wasn't really listening to him. I got pretty scared, not knowing what to expect. Thank God he called me back and found this. Who knows what would have happened if not? And when I look back, I can't believe I was bending and moving, even doing a fun jog right after my injury. Well, at that point, things got pretty serious. I was fortunate there was no bony fragments impinging on the spinal cord, and I had no near deficits. It was a T12 compression fracture. About 1/3 of the vertebral body was cavitated. But I was told there was a risk the fracture was unstable and could move, thus damaging my spinal cord. It was a close call, but I had to be very careful. I was not to do any bending, no lifting, no exercising, no running for at least 3 months. I had to wear an awkward brace to prevent flexion of my spine. I could deal with the pain, but I was really worried about damaging my spinal cord. During those days, I read so much about spine fractures, prognosis, treatment, surgeries, etc. I looked up the best braces to get and how to protect my back. I read and took vitamin D, C, bone broth, multivitamins, all kinds of things to try to help my bones heal. I sent the scans to my neuroimaging friends and spine surgeons back home too, and they confirmed the diagnosis and the restrictions needed for me to recover. Everyone scared me. At first, I didn't want to worry my family, but I had to tell them the bad news. I flew back home, somehow sitting awkwardly on a 5-hour flight in that brace in severe pain. I remember distinctly the woman sitting next to me. She could see the shape I was in. I knew no one on that plane, but she talked to me, got my mind off my back. She had compassion and empathy, telling me I was almost home. You know, the kindness of strangers is really a moving experience, really restores that faith in humanity. You know, she still checks on me sometimes on social media, and I want to thank you so much, Jen, for your kindness. Well, I got home at midnight to my worried family. I got to sleep as best I could. I had surgeries booked the next day for me, and I wondered if I should take some time off. But the next day I had a big event, Orbis International, a non-profit charitable organization dedicated to training doctors in the developing world, and I had organized a CyberSight live surgery event. I promised this to my friend and director, Hunter Cherwick. Colleagues from around the world would be logging in to watch me teach live surgery. I had to be there to do it. So I walked into the OR with my brace, carefully moving around.
I certainly want to welcome our CyberSight community to another webinar. It's the first time we've had Dr. Ike Ahmed on board, and we're very excited to join him and his surgical team in Canada. He's going to be demonstrating 2 surgical procedures for glaucoma. One is an Ahmed valve placement. The other.
I was fortunate to be able to do surgery still. I just ignored the pain. It's really amazing what mind over matter does when you need it. The event went off without a hitch, fortunately. That day I realized at the same time I was walking funny and had pain in my right foot. I went to the hospital and had an x-ray of my foot and found we had a foot fracture. It was minor, but I didn't even notice it because of all the attention on my back. Crazy. Now, despite my injuries and wearing what is called a Jewett brace all day for my back to prevent any flexion and taping my foot up, I didn't miss a day of surgery. I was very lucky. I was very grateful to be able to still help my patients who were in need of me despite my injuries. I was very fortunate. I was blessed to have people around me, the nurses, my staff, my fellows and colleagues who took great care of me. Let me tell you something about pain. I've never been in that much pain in all of my life. Really. I could barely move without feeling pain, and I couldn't get in a comfortable position to sit or sleep. My back was so stiff. Imagine not being able to stretch your back for 3 months. Pain was very much like background noise. It was just always there. I'm also going to say something that no one knows. I lied about taking pain medications. I could tolerate the pain, and I wanted, in some weird way, to live through it without pain medications and experience the whole thing. I also wanted to keep my mind sharp and focused. It was a challenge for my mind to overcome, and I think I was able to. The mind is an absolutely incredible and powerful organ. Let me explain something that some may find odd. During these times, I was actually pumped and excited. Here's a post I made a month after my injury. I'm excited and grateful. Why? Because I am up for a fight, for a challenge. I'm grateful I have the means to do so and can still work and function. Many people have it far worse than me, and I know I will even be better and stronger than before. The reality in life it is that full of challenges, setbacks, failures, and struggles. Recognizing and admitting them is human. Learning and rebuilding from this is a gift. Most of all, the healing power of the love, positivity, support, and kindness from so many of you is incredible. There was also a mental toll of being so restricted in what I could do, not being able to work out or run, and the pain and the worry about whether I could get better went through my mind a lot. Honestly, I felt down. My spirits were low at many times. My docs told me I couldn't do anything, but I could walk. Mentally, I needed to be active. I had to get out, really. So I walked, and I walked, and I walked every day. It was cold in December, January, and February, and often lots of snow on the ground. I walked in my snow boots and with layers under my parka jacket, toque, and gloves. Some days I walked 20 kilometers. I don't think my docs thought I would do that much when they told me I could walk. I would walk for hours, sometimes at 4:30 in the morning up and down the street, sometimes in the evening in the parks nearby. I walked alone most of the time. I admit it was really lonely. I had lots of time to think, ponder about things in life. Sometimes I called my friends to talk. You know who you are, and I'll never forget you being there for me, supporting me from afar, with kindness and love. I'm eternally grateful for holding me up during those dark days, keeping my spirits up during those trying moments. Over time, people would call me to book time on one of my walks. Then I started to get people asking me if they could go on walks with me to talk and commiserate. Soon, I had one or two people going out for walks regularly with me. We had like meetings while walking. Students, trainees, colleagues, neighbors, and even strangers. It was a pretty amazing experience. I was also limping because of my broken right foot, and I was compensating with my left leg. Unfortunately, I then developed a tibial stress fracture on my left side, if you can believe it. I was so down during that time because despite me taping my legs and my foot up, it became very painful to walk. I developed sores and cuts on my feet. I refused to completely stop, but I had to go very slowly and over a shorter distance. Things became harder. But life carried on, and I walked, talked, and slowly recovered. I didn't travel for a few months, but I had to continue the research work I was doing eventually. I didn't have a good night's sleep for over 4 months, but eventually I healed. With God's mercy, it didn't get worse. After repeat scans, my local spine doc told me I was ready for physio 3 months after my injury. Physio, of course, is important to recuperate after injuries. I saw many people there with severe injuries that needed physio. Well, I went to my physio twice. My physiotherapist told me there are 3 main reasons to do physio. 1, range of motion. Well, surprisingly, I was pretty good. 2, pain. I gotten so used to it, and by 4 months, it was so much better. And 3, strengthening. Well, I could do that at the gym. So me, being a surgeon and being impatient and a terrible patient, after 2 sessions, I never went back. Yeah, what was I thinking? But you know what? Whether it was luck, fortune, being blessed, the prayers of others, and God's mercy, I miraculously recovered. I truly cherish the day I could get rid of my brace. Well, fast forward 6 months after my injury, eventually my pain mostly went away. Now, there remains one spot on my lower right side of my back that hurts to touch. I'm sure some deep muscle injury that may take a longer time to recovery. But I would even say honestly, my back has never felt better. Actually, today, to be honest, my back's a little hurting, but it's fine. It's been a year now. A lot has happened over that year in so many ways. For the first time today, I've sat down and gone through the events of that day. I'm the kind of person who just goes forward, not always thinking about the past, facing whatever challenge or opportunity there is in front of me. But today, I reflected a lot on what I've learned. There's still some things I can't say. Some of my friends know that, but maybe that's for another time. I'm grateful for things I have in my life. I'm thankful to God for mercy and giving me the strength to persevere. I'm grateful for the people who are there for me. You know who you are. People who were here, who took care of everything for me. Family, friends, and even strangers. So many of you. And who were here for me, keeping me positive, picking me up when I was down, showing me love, compassion, patient with me. I truly love you. Thank you. I'm so grateful for your kindness. Hey everyone, I posted about my nasty injury yesterday, and I want to just thank so many of you who sent me so many beautiful messages and well wishes. These are the times we remember all the wonderful friends and colleagues and folks that are with us in this world today. And I thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart. Those messages helped me heal, and I wish you best of health and safety. And I'll be back running hopefully soon, hopefully without this thing. I have to call out Tissy and Mariana, who were there during my injury and truly saved me from myself too. Continue to make sure I was okay. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's incredible how passion and perseverance can overcome the biggest of hurdles and deficits. A mantra I've adhered to all my life. I had to dig hard. I feel I was close to losing a lot, but somehow survived. I tell my friends that I'm an adrenaline junkie. I live for the moments of extremism, in the OR, in life, every day. I really wake up every day thinking something amazing is going to happen. Living my life to face challenges keeps the mind running, the adrenaline pumping, and the creativity humming. To live for that is truly exciting and invigorating. I'm actually truly grateful to have had this challenge of this fracture and the hardship in my life during this time. And I'm appreciative of the ability and the support to overcome it. It's truly a kind of rebirth. And reinventing yourself, I think, is the true essence of keeping and living life. I was able to experience healthcare from a patient perspective, waiting in lines, not being sure what to expect, the vulnerabilities of being a patient, feeling how much compassion and empathy can go a long way in making you feel better. I hope this experience makes me a better doctor. I still kick myself for the stubbornness of not wanting to impose on others despite endangering my own health. I don't know if I ever will change this way I think. I know where it comes from. As a child growing up in northern Canada, looking and thinking very differently from others, not being accepted and not wanting others to be forced to accept me. Well, that's for another story. But refusing to impose oneself on people robs your loved ones of the opportunity to be needed. It's part of developing deeper connections with people, intimate and solid relationships. I hope I learned from this. I promised myself I would get in better shape. I was able to start running and working out, feeling better day by day. In many ways, I moved on from my spinal fracture. Most days now, I don't even think about it, which is a far cry from how it was several months ago. But I will never forget what I've learned and the people who have been on this journey with me. God bless and much love.